What is going on, all you beautiful people? Thanks for joining me for yet another video. Today we've got quite an interesting one. We've got a hard use knife. Do I look like a hard use knife kind of guy? I'm definitely not, but it's super cool to be able to check out knives from different makers and brands that I've never heard of. So today we are checking out the MK1 by Attn2Detail. This is quite a hefty knife. It's a little bit of a tank, but it's very slim, and I can see why people would enjoy it. But it is described by Attn2Detail as a hard use knife. So I want to dive into a little bit of that because for somebody that's brand new to EDC, you might not know the differences and what is it that makes just your regular old knife a hard use knife. So let's start out with some specs. Before we dive in, big thank you to Brian over at Blade Capone. It's because of him that I've been able to review so many knives on this channel. He is a knife retailer for brands like Jack Wolf, Attn2Detail, Hinderer, and many more. You guys can check him out using my link below. And if you use code Captain Ricky at checkout, that gets you a little bit of a discount, which is always nice when we're buying knives, right? It's always nice to save a little bit of money to eat and buy food. So for the MK1, we are looking at an overall length of 7.7 inches, a blade length of 3.2 inches, and a blade steel of S30V and a satin finish. The handle material is titanium with this really nice textured pattern on it. It is a frame lock, and it is made here in the USA. So one of the common factors when it comes to hard use knives is that they typically run on washers. Something like your Hinderer, for example, gives you the options to choose between a nylon washer, a phosphor bronze washer, or even bearings. So it's really nice to have that little bit of variety. But on the MK1, we are running strictly on washers. And what that affects is, number one, the action. But the positives of that is that if you are going to use this knife to cut into things out and about, and gunk gets in the pivot with washers, it is just much easier to clean. Another thing that you may notice on a lot of hard use knives is that they use different tool steels, but on this particular model, we are looking at S30V, which is really great edge retention. And on this particular model, we have a little bit of a hollow grind, so it is going to be nice and slicey. Ergonomically, the MK1 is really nice in hand. Like I said before, the added texture on the scales make it really nice and grippy, and I like the fact that we have a little bit of a ramp leading up to the blade where you can put your thumb. With the awesome ergos, you do get a little bit of an interesting overall shape, which is one of the things that I noticed at first. It's kind of like Strider-ish in my opinion. But very comfortable in the hand regardless, and that is something else you notice in a lot of these hard use knives is that you prioritize ergonomics because you are going to be holding this knife for a very long time if you are planning to hard use it at work, etc., etc. For the pocket clip, we have a fairly deep carry pocket clip. Only a little bit of that top part sticks out, which is not a bad thing at all. On the back side, we have that over travel stop. So what that means is if you have a frame lock knife and you're doing hard work with it and you go and push on that lock, that over travel stop prevents the lock from going all the way out and possibly breaking or messing with the action. The action on this for running on phosphor bronze washers though is really nice. The flickability of it is really nice and smooth. You do get that spidey hole to kind of middle finger flick if you would like. And overall, it's just really nice. Now, I can't hard use this because it's not mine and I don't own it. So I can't really say that maybe it'll break in a little bit more. But like I said, when a knife is running on washers, you are going to see a little bit of a drop on the action. Now, there's not a lot of information out there on Attn2Detail. It looks like they go on a scale of small to large on most of their knives. So this is the medium variant. I'm not exactly sure if there is a larger. I believe I saw a small one. But that is something really cool. I like the fact that they do give you a little bit of variety within each knife in case you want to have something smaller that you can complement another fixed blade or another knife in your pocket with, or something larger if you're planning on doing some really hardcore tasks and just need a longer blade. So that is a really cool thing to notice. Now, one of the things that did kind of surprise me a little bit was the price point. This retails for $750. It seems like a really high price point, but keep in mind when you are buying knives that are made in the USA, you are paying for premium products. You're paying for the time and effort that it took the maker to make this design and make this knife. So just keep that in mind. The price point is a little high, but in my opinion, the quality on this knife reflects it. I think most of the time when you're looking at buying a knife with textured scales, most of the time that price point is fairly high or up, just because that requires a ton of time and a ton of effort. So just keep that in mind. But you can find this one on the Blade Capone website for $750. So that is it for me, guys. Thank you for joining me. This is definitely a very interesting piece. I don't typically review hard use knives because it just doesn't fit into my criteria. But at the end of the day, it's super cool to be able to check out different makers. And I really enjoy this. So now if I get to check out another Attn2Detail knife, I kind of know what to expect. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoy this kind of content, please subscribe. I'd love to see more of your face, and I'll catch you guys on the next video.